That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
I finally got to it. It took forever and a day. Look, Danny, Godzilla. It's Godzilla. It's the king of the monsters. Godzilla the Half-Century War. This was good. I can honestly say this is the first thing Godzilla-related that I thoroughly enjoyed and had absolutely no reservations about. Godzilla 2014 I thought was okay. I enjoyed it enough. I thought there was some interesting stuff going on in that. But yeah, there's a lot not to like about that movie. No. There's a lot not to like about Godzilla 2014. You want to be Godzilla, don't you? Yes. So I can see people's reservations about that. But this, oh man, this was brilliant. So the premise of this book is there's a guy who's maybe 20 in 1954 when Godzilla first attacks. And so he has to, he's in a tank when Godzilla first attacks Tokyo in 1954. I believe it's Tokyo. Fuck if I know. And then he and the tank driver kind of lure Godzilla away from a city square so people have enough time to get out. And it's because of that they get selected to join up with this unit that's hoping to rid the world of Godzilla, or at least attempting to. And they spend the next 50 years dealing with Godzilla in one way or another, and dealing with all the other monsters that show up because of Godzilla. And so we get their first encounter with another monster in Vietnam, and we deal with all this stuff. And they talk about how there's been all these efforts when Godzilla was just roaming around Japan to deal with him, all these different experimental methods to deal with Godzilla, and they'd had varying degrees of success, but nothing that was able to kill Godzilla, basically. And one of their efforts was this device, this kind of satellite-like device that was meant to discourage other creatures, or discourage Godzilla from going anywhere. But this scientist had turned it into a device to attract monsters. And he first used it in Vietnam, which is why we got two monsters fighting Godzilla and Baragon, I think his name is. And then just a couple years later, we have just this entire city turned into a war zone of monsters. All these different guys fighting, and as all these different monsters appeared in the world, new teams were developed to help fight the monsters. Which is great. What I really like about it is it's a really simple continuity to understand, and since you're only following one guy through it, and you can sympathize with him because he's just trying to deal with a monster that's destroying the world, basically. And of course, the true monster is man, because the guy had changed his satellite into a device to attract monsters, and that escalates the whole thing. You meant for it to just be a way for, countries to be able to sick monsters on each other and stuff, as to use monsters as a weapon, but as he makes his devices more and more powerful so that they attract monsters from further and further away, it becomes a problem in India, where we get, wait for it, finding the page, where we get Space Godzilla, which has never made any sense, but Space Godzilla, and it's clearly its own thing in this continuity, but I just think that's a really clever idea. It's a really great way to get all these monsters into one universe and not have the continuity issues that you would with other Godzilla things, and be able to keep a consistent thing going. Honestly, the only problem with this is it wraps itself up. So they're able to team up with Mechagodzilla and Godzilla to defeat Space Godzilla. And then we get to 2002, and we have just all these other monsters. Or not all these other. We have King Ghidorah and Rodan, I believe it's called, showing up. Yeah, you're more of a King Ghidorah, Danny. You have King Ghidorah and Rodan showing up to fight Godzilla because they've been called from space because this satellite is just so powerful. And I'm just blown away by how clever the conceit to get all of this to happen in Godzilla's 50-year history, basically, and have it all be really easy to follow and all make a lot of sense without getting way too complex and overly intricate and without having to blend a bunch of different things together. I'm really impressed with this. But also, there's some really great character stuff for this guy that we followed all the way through. He's just always blown away by how little Godzilla cares about him. He's just completely insignificant to Godzilla. And as he has gotten older and more wearied, or more weared down over the years that he's been fighting Godzilla, Godzilla hasn't changed at all. He's still just the biggest, baddest monster, and there's nothing that's different about that. So after this black hole gun is used to get rid of Rodan and Ghidorah, the guy has this amazing speech, and I'll try my best to do it justice, but Godzilla's turning away to walk away from the black hole that Rodan and Ghidorah were just stuck into. And the guy says, "No! You're not walking away again, Godzilla! Not this time! I'll make you notice me!" And he's like punching at Godzilla and fighting him. "Look at me, you damn monster!" And Godzilla roars at at Mechagodzilla, the dude's in, and he goes, stubborn to the very end. Typical Godzilla. "Thanks for seeing me off, big guy. It's been quite the journey." And then they go into the black hole together and die together is the idea. So that's the only thing that's disappointing about this is it sets up this great world for Godzilla and all the other monsters to exist in under one stable continuity, but it does so without having to be too intricate, too complex. Like you could clearly set up all the other monsters. This would be perfect for a film universe to do like I'd say you could probably manage to get like 10 movies if you could get one actor who could stay with it the whole time and have one movie come out every 4 to 5 years. You could probably get a great 10-series movie out of it. And you probably couldn't call it the Half-Century War. It'd probably be significantly less time, but it's brilliant to set it up in the comics in that way, to be able to do this epic saga that's been going on for half a century, and Godzilla hasn't changed at all throughout the entirety of it. This is brilliant, though. I loved this. This is the kind of stuff I want to see with Godzilla, where there's this great use of, excuse me. You're not getting away. There's this great use of what it means to exist in a world with monsters, and how monsters can become these weapons of war and stuff. But there's also this great commentary on time and its effects on a person. Godzilla stands and he's this, unchangeable, unmoving force in reality, and at the same time, this guy has gone from being, a young man who's self-described as barely out of his teens to just this old veteran of monster era, and who just has nothing left in him, but this will to fight Godzilla, to be recognized by Godzilla the same way he recognizes Godzilla, and that's great stuff. There's some great stuff in this book. I was really happy with it. I might pick up some of the other IDW stuff because this was just so cool. I'll have to talk to Bill and see what he suggests I should pick up after this. because that was brilliant. That was one of the best, like hands down, the best thing I've ever seen with Godzilla. Just great. Absolutely loved it. You're active, but right now.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.